What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Here we have Kizuna Clash finally debuting versus Shanks. You know, it's cool that we're actually getting some new content, right? But this team that you see in this video here, this clip, using the Ashura Enma Zoro, this specific team, we did talk about it extensively in my Kizuna preparation video, and yeah, it works exactly how I thought it was going to work, which is fantastic. Even better that they actually add a couple more mob characters at the start of the fight here, so there's not only just the two turtles, but they also add a couple more characters. And I believe the reason they did this is that so you could actually use Enma Zoro to clear this content, which is a really good thing, because Enma Zoro is one of the best captains to use for this strength fight versus Shanks, mainly due to that key component of the enemy having damage limiter, where you can only deal 50% of the enemy's maximum health at the start of every turn. Meaning that if you have Enma Zoro and you have his max Enma gauge, of course you need to consume 10 Wano slots before you reach that final stage. Then when you go ahead and reach that stage, you can activate his Enma gauge captain effect, which will double the amount of damage limiters, meaning the 50% threshold is increased to 100%, meaning you can actually kill the enemy in one turn, rather than having all of these different buffs that last for multiple turns. So of course, having Okiku for the ore block on stage 1 is super good. Hiyori is 100% required for this team. Mihawk is a little bit replaceable, I would say, because with the way that Zoro works, you can kind of generate a way to break through the barrier anyways. But it's nice to have Mihawk because he kills the mobs, makes things a bit easier. Of course, make sure you consume those Wano slots. And then, of course, we have Carrot, who can switch into the captain position, which is a good and a bad thing. Realistically, you should actually use the Zoro, your own Zoro captain on stage 2, and then use the friend captain on stage 3, so that you can actually get the tandem slot on him to get the increased damage effect on the opponent, so that you can get a conditional boost buff as well. Moving on to the secondary team, this team was probably not as good as the team that you just saw previously with Enma Zoro, but it's another proof of concept that, hey, shooters are pretty freaking good still, and we're able to get the job done with Ben, Beckman, and Lucky Roux. So, unfortunately, the way that I had kind of planned the team out is I was going to try and get the Super Tandem ability to activate with Ben, Beckman, and Lucky Roux, but then I kind of realized that there is no way to make tandem slots beneficial, unless if I mistook one of the effects of Wiper, who might make tandem slots beneficial. I can't remember exactly, but if he does that, then you can change the order of the specials to give you a full board of tandem slots, which would allow you to trigger super tandem on stage 3, and also, you know, because of all the buffs that you have, you can actually kill on stage 3, and then you'll have multiple buffs ready for a secondary turn on stage 3, which is really cool. Another thing about this team that makes it a little bit less viable than the Enma Zoro team that you just saw previously is that you really have to bring barrier pierce characters in order for the team to work, and also it just means that it's not as efficient at actually clearing this stage here versus Yasob. Because of those mob characters that surround him, you need to kill those guys as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, those guys just run away. It's not really the end of the world. Even if you just leave them alive, it's fine. The ones that are on a one-turn cooldown will actually deal damage to you, so do keep that in mind if you do opt to do it in this fashion. If they have a one-turn cooldown, they will attack you, and then they will run away. So if you need the HP for some whatever reason, then you need to be very cautious of that. But of course, we can activate the rest of our specials. We do a lot of damage, and even post level 31, there's going to be increased damage threshold, increased despair, which is why we have certain supports on the crew, and then there is also special reverse, which is also why Pudding is here, because she can deal with that special reverse for the crew. It's kind of important that she's actually there. But overall, really fun team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll pick things up once we move on to the secondary boss fight.
ども、一人も死者を出すんじゃねえぞ。どっちが立派な海賊になれるかって対決だよ。
Moving on to the quick boss. Well, a lot of people say it's the quick boss, but technically it's the quick dex side dex quick boss because of the way that the HP bar works. As you see on the final stage, it's actually pretty freaking ridiculous. So the way that this team works is we're using the Gear 5 hybrid scenario, the 6-star and the 6-star plus. With this combo, as long as you have one of every color on the team, you've got the 6-star plus Gear 5 that's super effective against all types and makes any special in regards to certain characters, whether it be their color or their class, it activates for the whole crew, which makes it just incredibly strong. And then, of course, you have the two captains with the utility components. You've got 6 plus Gear 5 Luffy with Despair Reduction. And then you've got the 6-star one, removing Bind, removing Special Reverse. And then you've got Color Affinity, you've got Orb Boost, you've got all these different effects activating here. It's pretty strong, actually, overall. We're going to go ahead and use the Luffy special just to give us a bit of damage on this stage, because we won't really need it on the final stage because we have Ace and Yamato. You do see that we're inflicted with Burn. We're kind of just tanking it, and we're just tanking all the death hit and everything because we can just use the 6-star version of Luffy to revive for us. Just further reason showing why this combination is one of the best combos, if not the best combo in the entire game for double captain scenarios. It is incredible. So with this team comp, we're going to get a conditional boost. We're going to have a double stacking conditional boost. We'll have chain buffs. We'll have all of our different buffs activated, which is incredibly good. There is actually an Intimidate if you activate an orb boosting effect here, which is kind of annoying. I'm not too sure if I did it correctly, but after you use the Ace Yamato special, you should use the Kid special, which will give you an orb boost for 2 turns. Either way, I'm pretty sure I do end up getting the orb boost either way, because the Luffy, he'll give us the color affinity buff for the crew. We have the Robin for the conditionals. We have Sanji for chain boundary, chain boost. We just have a lot of different buffs here. And remember, 6-star plus Gear 5 Luffy will be super effective against all types. With his Rush Sugo special, this is going to do well over 1 billion damage. Absolutely no issues, no questions asked. That's a really fun team, does a lot of damage. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and then we'll pick things up once we get into the next fight. Moving on to the secondary version of the quick team that we talk about in this clip. This is a pretty interesting team here. I was actually kind of proud this team actually worked as it did. It's a very interesting one using Douglas Bullet, and look, it's not the best in terms of the amount of damage that you can do, especially when you compare the team that we just had previously. But it's more of just, hey, you know, if you are struggling to find key characters to get through this team will work. And, you know, if you can apply Bullet in any team, it's always a lot of fun to use him. You know, obviously one of the first, he was the first character in the game that had an inbuilt, innate ability to be super effective against all types all the time. Very powerful effect, especially in this type of content where the opposing character has multiple different types in the HP bar. Very frustrating to get through. So we can get through that pretty comfortably. We are also using the Shirahoshi Menshiri. They're special with a lot of overhealing before, you know, obviously you got to use that switch effect before they're special. And then also they remove the burn for us, which is very key. And you can see that with the amount of HP that we have just over 100,000, which means when we kill Lucky Roux on this stage, we will be able to tank the death hit from the enemy, which is absolutely fantastic. Worked exactly how I hoped it would. And then by using Carrot as our friend captain, we can ignore the damage reduction effects on this stage. So there's going to be 6 turns of damage reduction after level 31 and 5 turns of damage threshold. Carrot's captain ability allows us to bypass that, which is great. There's also Bind, 9 turns of it. It's going to be 10 turns post level 31, goes down to 7 with sockets. We've got the Kanjuro support on Toki to remove 2 turns of it, and then the Robin removes 5 turns of it, with color affinity being added to fighter and free spirit characters. So really fun team. Let's move on to the next boss. Moving to the final boss of the video is going to be versus the Int variation this time around. So the first team here is going to be using Shanks as our captain because his captain ability allows us to remove special reverse or deal with special reverse really. So he's going to be kind of key. He really helps a lot, so you don't have to worry about special reverse mechanics on that final stage. And there's also going to be a really annoying stage on stage 2. So you get hit with an 80% health cut and 2 turns of recovery bind. So you want to find a way to heal above the 80% threshold. Really, you want to heal above 90% HP threshold. The reason for it is because if you reach the final stage and you have 90% HP or below, you get a really annoying tap limit where you can only tap with 2 of your characters for 15 turns. And that really hinders your damage significantly if you can only tap with 2 singular units. So you really want to try and find a way to heal back above 90% so that you don't have to worry about it. There's also going to be an interrupt if you activate any conditional boost. The enemy will remove beneficial effects and accumulated values. So that's very frustrating. And then also there's the special reverse. There's also an intimidate, a very annoying intimidate by the way. Any attack boost, base attack boost, or orb boost is reduced by 1 turn. So with this team here, we've got Shanks with the multi-turn orb boosting effect, which is great for our crew. We used Momo on the previous stage, so we can carry an attack boost into this stage. We have color affinity from Luffy and the Straw Hats, and then Rockstar helps us deal with a couple of the effects that occur post level 31. But you know, obviously in these earlier levels, Rockstar is not required, but later on, Rockstar will be required to remove the 5 turns of despair that is inflicted to our crew, which is really nice. But you know, it's not the greatest team out there, but hey, you get around all the debuffs, you do decent damage, it is what it is. It's pretty solid overall. And then finally, we get to the final team of the video, which is against the Int version with the Gear 5 hybrid team. So with this team, it is a little interesting. I hadn't done something like this before. So the way that this team works is we basically activate almost every single special on stage 2. And what we do is by using the Gear 5 Luffy with the support of Momo, we can allow us to remove the resilience or get through the resilience really. But another thing that we can do here is that we can activate the Brook special and the Zoro special. And what that does is that it says that if we already have an attack and an orb boost when we launch the Zoro and the Brook special, they both will extend the duration of either attack boosts or orb boosts by 2 turns, meaning that the attack and orb boost from Luffy will last for 3 turns. Obviously meaning that we can bypass the enemy intimidate that occurs on that final stage. Now, the only thing that this team doesn't have is there's no color affinity boost, so realistically we could find a way to sneak a color affinity boost onto this team to give us a bit more damage on that final stage. And we also have Chopper, which is a key unit because his special ability at level 3 max capacity will fully heal our crew, meaning that we don't have to worry about being below 90% when we reach the final stage. Yes, there is technically a little bit of issue there because Gear 5 Luffy does give us a 10% health cut, but with end of turn healing, we don't have to worry about it. That's going to wrap it up for me though. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
Sorry, でも取り返さなきゃいけねえもんがあんだ。